Hi, welcome to our panel discussion. On your right, do you have your snacks? Please proceed to your seating.
Well, take a seat, please.
Now I would like to introduce our first guest, Deborah Silva, to explain about herself, explain about her life, explain about the way she felt portraying her character, and how her real situation is right now. So give a warm welcome to Deborah Silva.
Good evening, everyone. My name is actually Deborah Neva, and just like my character, I am Brazilian as well. I represent a Brazilian girl that came here to study, and she has to go back to her country because her visa is going to end. And it's actually pretty much my story. Right now, Brazil has just been through elections, and unfortunately, our new president is pretty much not nice. We, part of the country actually realized that the new president has a lot of similarities and a lot of ideas that is really pretty close to what we had in our dictatorship, military dictatorship, less than 50 years ago. So yeah, we are pretty much in a bad situation, but not yet, not right now. So it means that Brazilians can come to the Netherlands as refugees. We can come here as an immigrant, but we need to get a student visa or a work visa. And for me, it's really hard because I don't speak Dutch, so to find a job here is kind of impossible. And to get to study here, long-term studies, it's really expensive for me because I'm not European. So I have to pay around 5 times more than any of you guys. And yeah, so I can't afford to study here and I can afford to get a job here. I just won't ever be hired. And yeah, that's it. My story and my character's story are pretty much the same.
Thank you, Deborah Neva. So that's her real name. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And now we're going to go on to our second character that you guys might know of as E. Luzafar. So now he will explain the same things as Deborah did, but then in his own situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, my name is Gabriel, actually, and I am also a Brazilian. The first idea of my character was to be a Palestinian guy, but then we changed it because Syrians are like, there's a lot of more Syrians than Palestinians here, and Palestinians are not that, like, they're not recognized in the Netherlands, then we changed it, etc. And well, we chose the Syria because Syria is in pretty much danger right now, and all the crisis is that. And we came up with a backstory of the Syria, and you can see it on our Instagram. And I won't tell you all of the story, but that's pretty much it. I think you all know like the Syria is very dangerous, and I think that's it.
Thank you so much to Gabrielle. So thank you for sharing that story again. So that means that you and Deborah kind of share the same real life, right? Because you know you're both from Brazil, so you were both in that boat together. So sorry for the wordplay. Wasn't meant like that. And now we're going to go on to our last character, or last contestant. We're going to stay in the Project Runaway theme. Give a warm welcome to what we know as Azra Khan.
Thank you. Hi, my character's name is Azra Khan. I'm meant to be an Afghan person, but as you can kind of tell from my accent, I'm not actually an Afghan. I'm from New Zealand. My name is Tim Sang, and yeah, let me tell you a little bit about Afghanistan. So from the 90s to the early 2000s, there were about 3.3 million refugees that came out. And they kind of spread across Europe and like the rest of the world just to try and find themselves from the country because of the war-torn places there right now. At the moment, there's 44,000 refugees living in Holland from Afghanistan, and my character happens to be one of those. Thank you guys for coming, by the way. Thanks.
So, big, warm, I won't say applause because no one will applaud, so that was weird. A big thank you to our contestants. Thank you, Tim, as well, for sharing your story. Thank you, Gabriel. Thank you, Deborah, for sharing what you guys have experienced. I really hope you guys have a better understanding now of the characters, who they are, and what they've been through themselves, and how they feel. My name is Julian Knows, that's how you guys know me. My real name is Julian Raouf. I'm also a student here. Julian Knows is my real stage name, as you might say like that. That's what I do as a host. The character that I played was a very standoffish character, very rude to them, because, you know, I myself was also a refugee, and when I was little, growing up in a refugee camp, I always had a feeling like I don't want to be this because they don't accept me, so I was really like trying to become the best Dutch person that I am, and I keep forgetting where I came from, which is not a bad thing because, you know, I should be able to be Dutch and become Dutch and do everything that are traditions, but I should not forget where I came from. That doesn't make me less Dutch, that just makes me more human. So that's why I kind of switched at the end to a character that was more calm and relaxed, because I didn't push away that culture that I had. I didn't push that away, you know. I really want to help keep that, because that's also part of who Julian is. So that's that. So now I'm going to head over to Martin, who will now do the statements with you guys. So good luck.
Well, as you know, my name is Martin, and I'm going to talk you through the whole plan what is for today. So we have the panel discussion. We have for you 4 statements that we want your opinion about. I'm also giving the word to our contestants to see what their opinion or what their thoughts are on these statements for them. Yeah, we want for you to share your mind, raise your hand if you have something to say with us, connect, interact, do whatever you want. Alright, and our first statement is the general feeling of hatred against Islam and Muslims in the Netherlands and an important value to the observable behavior in society. Alright, I will give now the mic to Deborah.
I can't say much about Muslim perspective, but as a Latin woman, what I can say is that, yeah, when we come to the Netherlands, we are seen with different eyes. I will not say that I've been mistreated, but I realize that when I say I'm from Brazil, people treat me differently, and yeah, they ask questions that you're not supposed to ask a woman, and I'm pretty sure they only ask Brazilian or Latin women, and it's kind of sad because when I came here, I thought, well, coming to the Netherlands is a pretty civilized country. They will not look me with different eyes, but they actually do. I've been asked before if I ever considered being a prostitute because I'm Brazilian. And yeah, I didn't expect that when I came here. And when we're treated like that, we start to have a reaction, and it's not always positive reaction, because it's not nice what happens, and for me as a Latin woman is like this. I can only imagine that for Muslim people it's even worse. The repression and prejudice they feel must be much harder. So yeah, our reaction when we're treated like this is or we leave the country or we start to make our own rebellion, like not about hating the country that we are, but actually having second thoughts about people here.
And just to add to that, I do agree that some things are wrongfully said here in the Netherlands, especially to Muslims, because I was born as not born as a Muslim, I was raised as a Muslim with Muslim parents. And I do have to say though that yes, it is different the way that some people might be treated here, but I do also agree that instead of rebelling, we need to start informing. So every time I find myself in a situation where someone says something that I don't agree with, instead of attacking that person, which I did for a long time, I was like, don't you dare say this is really wrong. I still do that sometimes because some things can go too far. I now start to inform because a woman came up to me once and she said like, it's really weird that your sister's not wearing a hijab. And I was like, why? She said, well, that's mandatory, right? And that's when I started to inform her because I realized that it's not that she didn't want to know, she just didn't know in general. So then I informed her on, listen, no, it's not like that. So it changes their perspective and it changes my perspective as well. So I think that's my statement on the.
Alright guys, well thank you for your thoughts about the first statements. Are there any questions in here? No? Then we will continue with the second statement. Alright, we have now statement 2. The reason that lots of immigrants can come off as angry or underperforming is because they started the race in the Netherlands with a significant backlog in comparison with natives.
So I would like to add something about the second statement. Me personally, I am a student in public management, so this is basically all that we talk about for a very long time. So in the public management sector, when we talk about this, it's actually very true that a lot of refugees that come here, they do start off the race of life, like the race in the Netherlands with a huge backlog. And that's because they're not given the same opportunities, of course. They start off sometimes with a huge loan, so going up to 3-story again, so they might start with a huge loan, and then they have to work, but they can't work yet because they're not allowed to do lots of work. They only have a maximum, I think, of 16. Yeah, they're only allowed 16 hours per week to work. My mother as well, she had to work in a restaurant, just like how Deborah worked in a restaurant. My mom had to take care of 2 children, work in a restaurant, and then try to pass the integration test, but also living in like some weird container somewhere in a camp off in the middle of nowhere. So it's a very hard life. And now, till this day, I'm 20 years old right now. So 20 years has passed, and she's still huge in debt. And we don't know what tomorrow will bring. So I do believe, and believe me, she studied university, neuroscience, she studied medicine. Like she did all these high stuff back in her country. And she finished a 2-year degree here because she had to work. And now she works in a pharmacy. No offense to pharmacists. But she could have reached so high, and she's doing. And when I asked her, I said, "Mom, do you like your work?" She says, "No, I don't like it. But when you need to survive, you don't have a choice." And that's the mentality of lots of refugees here right now. So this statement, I agree with 100%. I do think that they start off with a huge backlog in comparison with natives. Thank you.
Oh, this is good.
But it was pretty rough then for you.
Ooh. Yes.
Alright, continue to the third statement of today. That would be the integration system should be changed from going to school and taking a test to working amongst Dutch natives and being evaluated on your level of speaking and Dutch knowledge after an X amount of years. Who's got an opinion on that? Okay.
My opinion on this statement is it's not really my kind of statement, but I like to have a mix of both because we can't judge a person on the Dutch knowledge in their first year because everyone has to learn. For myself, I'm 25 years old and I still don't know some of the Dutch culture. So it isn't really fair to judge a refugee on their Dutch knowledge in a year or whatever. But I don't think it's going to be a good idea to have a couple of years here just to learn, and after they didn't learn, they have to get sent back because it will cost a lot of money, and it's not wasted because they have a household and a roof above their heads for those years, but yeah, I'm still a bit in the middle of this statement.
All right, thank you, Luke, for that. And yeah, now we'll continue to our fourth and our last statement of the evening, and that will be asylum camps should be shut down, and refugees should be housed in the middle of the society to speed up the integration process.
I kind of agree with this statement and I kind of disagree at the same time because for, I think, literally any country there will be some dangerous people and there will be, of course, normal human beings and good people like that. But if we remove every single asylum camp and every single one of the refugees get scattered among the Dutch culture or like any or any culture around the world, that could lead to a lot of bad things happening, I should say. But at the same time, there are a lot of good people as well who are refugees, and I think it would speed up the integration process a lot more as well, living amongst the culture. You're literally right in the middle of all the culture, and I do think that's a good idea as well. So I'm kind of torn between both of them. Thanks.
Give it to Martin. Martin, does anyone else have to add something?
Anyone in the audience? Does anyone in the audience has also an opinion on this statement? Or anyone has to add something on for? Yeah.
You start.
Thanks for that.
So, as a Brazilian, it's hard for me it's quite easy for me to talk about this statement because Brazil is the kind of country that has a lot of immigrants getting out of Brazil. But right now, with the Venezuelan crisis, we have a lot of immigrants coming in. So we are just like Hannah Montana, but the worst of both worlds. And what happened is I completely understand, I 100% understand immigrants that want to be closer to the city and want to have more contact with Dutch people, because when I got here, I didn't have one Dutch friend for the first 4 months. I didn't have any contact with Dutch people, only my teachers. And it was really hard for me because I was so far from home, and I would go back home with nothing new from the Netherlands, but at the same time, I can understand.
Yeah, so I just want to start to say that I disagree with the statement, but I do agree with the issue. So I come from New Zealand, and for the last few years I've been living in a city called Auckland, and Auckland is described by the locals as a cultural melting pot because we already have so many cultures living in Auckland, and it's such a multicultural city that the idea of being a foreigner, as long as you're able to communicate with us, essentially means that you can be treated as a local. If you go to other places in New Zealand, you might not experience that, but Auckland in particular is very multicultural. I'm not from the Netherlands, so I can't give a Dutch perspective, and I'm also not a refugee, so I can't give the refugee perspective. But I think that asylum camps are certainly not the best way of living, but ultimately it's down to infrastructure. So in New Zealand at the moment we're suffering from a housing crisis, and it's quite common for people to be renting out people's garages, to be parking a truck in somebody's yard and then paying the price that you a few years ago would have paid to live in a house. So for us already taking in refugees in our country, it's very challenging to offer housing, but I do agree with the point that being segregated from locals, especially in the Netherlands, I'm getting very lost there speaking, but don't worry about it. I do agree that within the Netherlands, that being segregated from others in a camp can definitely create a cultural gap and make it very hard to integrate, especially for the refugees that come here that only have 3 years to do so. So I've been in the Netherlands 6 months now, and although I'm a native English speaker and everybody in the Netherlands speaks English, I've found that in my time here I've mostly befriended people from other countries, and it's been definitely difficult in the first few months that I was here to make friends with Dutch people because definitely had that language barrier, and it was just very easy for me to stay within that comfort zone of just speaking to people in English who came from other countries who also couldn't speak Dutch. And I think if I was a refugee and I only had 3 years to learn the language and integrate, and I stayed in the same sort of segregated society that I built for myself while I've been staying in the Netherlands, it would be a very big challenge, and the opportunity to live in housing within the city would definitely be helpful, but ultimately there's only so many houses everywhere you go in the world, and it's a question of whether it's the locals or the people coming from disrupted countries that are able to live in them. So.
I'm going to grab a mic because unfortunately we ran out of time. We went through all the statements, we heard all of our opinions. Thank you guys for also sharing your opinions. I would like to end off with telling once again to visit our Instagram pages for each of the characters. Visit our main Instagram page, Facebook page, our website as well, www.projectrunaway.co, www.projectrunaway.co. So follow that, check that out. From that platform, you can go on to the other platforms as well. Share, post, like the whole shenanigans as well. We would like to thank you guys for visiting us, for sharing your opinions. We would like to thank you guys for your time and attention, and hopefully we will see you all online once again. Please be updated on their Instagram pages. There will be more content on there soon. Also content from tonight, so that's what we're gonna do. I would like to thank my guests as well. I would like to thank my team. I would like to thank my team as well for the effort that they've done. It was a great experience that we've all had. We have become very close in a short amount of time. That's what I feel. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but so thank you guys for that experience. Thank you guys for your attention, and also thanks to you. And have a great night. Thank you.